All the best amigos and possible amigos, my name is Taff316, and welcome back to another reaction video, and welcome to another reaction to Charlie Brooker's Weekly Wipe. It's been 2 months since we've been on the show, so in case you forgot where we are now on Series 2, Episode 4. Ah, shit. Here we go again.
Hello, I'm Charlie Brooker, and you're watching Weekly Wipe, a program all about things that are happening. Things like this. Justin Bieber has been arrested. His lawyer advised him to remain silent, not for any legal reason, just to make him shut the f*** up. Astonishing scenes in Ukraine as 14th century combat explodes in the present day. It's good news for anyone who can't wait till season 4 of Game of Thrones.
As Sky's coverage expertly detailed, some protesters protected themselves from riot cops by disguising themselves as a shed.
Sensational scenes as Channel 4 delights the nation with thrilling snow sporting spectacular The Jump.
Awkwardly, Amy Childs refused to jump, meaning the programme should really have just been called The.
That's the sort of thing that's been going
what the
on.
hell?
But we start with Mr. Justin Bieber.
Oh my
and if
God.
You think the world is a confusing place for us, what the hell's it like for him?
I remember
For
this.
several years, Justin Bieber was afforded blanket media exposure, bibbling around in saccharine footage. Just another nauseating butter-wouldn't-melt pop weasel, hammered into the global consciousness like a nail of frozen piss through a cabbage, delighting screaming teenage girls, and as this wonderful photo shows, dismaying their dads. Then things started to go wrong for Pop's Prince Joffrey. For one thing, he grew up and is now 36 years old and looks like Jim Carrey playing Vanilla Ice. Following a series of bizarre incidents, he was scarcely off the gossip pages. He had this heartening confrontation with a provocatively foul-mouthed paparazzi Phil Mitchell.
I remember this.
What you say? What'd you say? Fucking little cock.
Last time I saw scum getting under the skin of a prick like that, I was watching Embarrassing Bodies. More recently, in a bid to provide mankind with a single
the
visual
piss
metaphor
bucket
that encompasses everything, he was filmed pissing into a mop bucket and also pelting a neighbour's house with eggs in scenes which amused news networks and our own Doug Stanhope, who called him a pussy on last week's episode of this show.
These fucking sissies, they drink a Red Bull for some pep and some spirit.
But that seems so long ago.
Fox News
It was for me.
Out of Miami Beach, Justin Bieber has been arrested.
Yeah, he's ruining his life!
Yes, to the obvious delight of every news
Yeah, I know,
channel
right?
on Earth, Justin Bieber had allegedly been drag racing a buddy in an unassuming yellow Lamborghini when he was pulled over by Miami cops. I hope when the police cars chased him, they went, Bieber, Bieber.
Immediately, the media went batshit.
Narcotics, marijuana.
Yeah, I remember this shit.
Bieber's arrest aftermath. His smiling mugshot after allegedly cursing at cops.
Yes, posing
Not
for the world's
cursing,
cheeriest mugshot didn't do him any favours either, because he didn't look penitent enough for society's liking.
Look at that hair. I mean, really.
Seriously, look how happy he is. That could be the front cover of a cereal packet or a jar of peanut butter. By the next day, the Bieber news had become so all-important, MSNBC felt it trumped a conversation with a congresswoman about the NSA spying scandal.
We should seriously consider not continuing
Congresswoman
Section
Harman,
215
let me
and getting
interrupt you. Congresswoman, let me interrupt you just for a moment. We've got some breaking news out of Miami. Stand by, if you will. Right now in Miami, Justin Bieber has been arrested on a number of charges.
Yes,
Oh my
helpfully providing
God.
The second iconic image of 24 hours, a less chirpy-looking Bieber showed up in a bizarre split-screen live video feed from the courtroom wearing Guantanamo fancy dress.
That's
So
hilarious.
the total bond would be $2,500.
$2,500. Jesus, he's going to have to work for 3 or 4 whole picoseconds to earn that.
I know,
the
right?
charges are fairly serious, so he could be looking at 6 months in jail. So who's to blame for his transformation from irritant to slightly different kind of irritant? Some say the problem is his ever-present entourage. They claim Bieber's surrounded by unsavoury characters determined to get into his inner circle, an experience that should prepare him nicely for life in prison. The one thing everyone can agree on is that young Bieber needs a firm role model. So what sort of example were the adults of the media setting?
Well, as the voracious coverage showed, as he walked free, they were jostling for position, clambering over police cars for a better shot until the cops yelled at them.
Hey, get off the friggin' corn!
While back in the studio, assorted jumped-up pundits fought like rats in a bag.
He's 19 years old. I'm sorry. He's not old. He's not even went to school. He's homeschooled. What are you talking about? Please.
Or took the time to admonish him like disapproving surrogate parents.
He was spewing the F-bomb
Oh, God.
at police.
They even turned his health status into a clickbait
That
voting
fucking
game.
woman.
Do you think Justin Bieber should go to rehab?
Or at least have an intervention. Go to our Twitter page and weigh in right now.
The concern spread to this side of the Atlantic as Daybreak's resident showbiz barnacle Ross King, a close friend of Justin's, wasn't afraid to ask the tough questions, even when they weren't relevant.
You have to question where the parents are in this whole situation, but also bear in mind that Justin's mum was just 17 when she gave birth to Justin, so questions have to be asked.
Yeah, the main question I want to ask is, what sort of weird hair colour is that, Ross? What the f*** have you been doing? Dyeing it with Nescafe?
But the prize for most outraged pundit goes to this Brazilian anchor who vividly demonstrated his disdain by improving Bieber's latest CD with his foot.
Quer saber? Não vou nem esperar o intervalo comercial. É agora mesmo. É agora mesmo. Aqui para esse CD do Justin Bieber, ó.
Obviously, it's hard to feel sympathetic for a multi-millionaire pop star, but imagine having Justin Bieber's life. You're followed everywhere you go by intrusive news cameras, pornographically detailing your every encounter with scumbag paparazzi and
Fucking little cock.
and whining teenagers shrieking your name. And you have to keep those fickle teenagers happy by jigging about in ghastly pop videos, belting out this god-awful shit you probably grew out of a few years ago. Everyone who isn't a teenage girl hates you like you're a Nazi made out of spiders. And every time you look in the mirror, Justin Bieber's staring back at you. He sleeps with you, he eats with you, you have to hear his thoughts, you even have to jerk him off. And on top of that, whenever you turn on the TV, there's a bunch of sanctimonious parasites on
God,
there,
fuck
getting
Nancy
paid
Grace.
to bitch about what an arrogant, impulsive twat you are.
This is a case of too much money, too much stardom, not enough rules and regulations. He needs a timeout, if not a spanking.
If that was my life, I'd inject heroin into my eyes, set the Lamborghini on fire, and deliberately drive it at 200 miles an hour into the first f***ing wall I saw. But Justin Bieber didn't do that, which means despite everything, he's still a pussy.
People don't...
You know, I gotta say about that too, though. Looking back on it, I really think what destroyed him is when he came up, he was such, an innocent little kid, you know. I think it was Usher that recruited him when he was like 15 or something, which definitely wasn't weird. But like, so much of the early hate for him, especially in like the burgeoning internet social media scene at the time, was so fucking strange. Like, I remember one incident where he went on a cop show. It was like NCIS or some shit. There's a million cop shows. And his character that he plays gets killed in the end of the episode. And people on the internet were celebrating that like it was an accomplishment that Justin Bieber got murdered on a television show that he got paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for a guest appearing on. And, like, looking back at it, some of that shit was really weird. And I do honestly think that he became the devil people wanted him to be, you know? I think he was definitely a made monster. It doesn't necessarily excuse him just being a douchebag, but I try not to be as harsh on him just because, like, he was... I don't think the kid was always a monster. I think he was made into one. But that's just my 2 cents. A lot of the shit surrounding him was, especially the early hate when he was normal, was just so fucking weird. It was just weird.
Pay attention to politics anymore because it's not as interesting as like celebrity ski jumping or whatever. So it's hard for the parties to get publicity. But there was this Lib Dem party who was so good at publicity, they could turn anything into a huge news story and make sure the leader was all over the telly for days looking really commanding and in charge and that.
A challenge to Nick Clegg's authority as he faces a growing row of the Liberal Democrat peer accused of sexual harassment.
They had this Renard man who looked a bit like Harold Bishop off Neighbours, who stood around in photos dressed as Father Christmas. And he was accused of doing all these inappropriate things which he denied.
Everyone wanted him to say sorry, but he reckoned he didn't have to. So instead, he expressed regret, which isn't quite the same, and it caused this stupid stalemate. Like, if he didn't want to say a full sorry, he could have said soz, which is sort of half sorry. That would have stopped the whole thing dead.
There was an
I'm
inquiry,
sure.
right, which said that he probably hadn't done anything wrong, and also that he probably had done something wrong. So now they're having another inquiry. I mean, it's good because it keeps it going. So, you know, we're all talking and thinking about it all the time, which is great publicity for them. I mean, I'd never even heard of the literal Democrats before, but now they've got all this coverage, like loads and loads of coverage. He's really put them in the public eye. Like, they'd probably do quite well if there was an election.
The Yellow Party used to be thought of as all hippie sort of do-gooder people who eat whole wheat cereal and care about Syria and things, which was boring. But now they're sort of more dangerous. Like now, when you see the logo, you immediately think about bad sex stuff.
Yeah, not a
which is
rapist.
loads more interesting. So they really stick in your head. Nick Legg must be really pleased about that.
I'm sure.
Just when you thought it was as creepy as it could get, they found another one who was accused of things he denied. Only this one looked a bit like all the Doctor Who's mixed together, all sort of scruffy. And Nick Legg seized that opportunity too and made sure that it was kept in the news as well.
Revealed the emails and letters which pile more pressure on Nick Clegg over the Lib Dem sex scandals.
The coverage was really in depth. Basically, the Lib Dems must be really pleased Nick Legg is their leader because everybody's talking about him now. And not just talking, but pointing and sort of whispering.
Now, the battle of the sexes.
They're
That
probably
can be
very
unpleasant, can't it? As anyone who's witnessed ITV's cheerfully gruesome Take Me Out will
not again!
Let the tool see the box.
Don't worry if you couldn't bear a whole episode of Take Me Out, because Mr. Jake Yap has distilled its essence, helpfully, into 94 mere seconds.
Thank God.
Which we'll share with you now.
Please don't make me watch this. I don't want to watch this. I'm gonna have to watch this, aren't I?
I'm Paddy McGuinness, and I like to substitute meaningless catchphrases for humour. Let the thing like a penis see the thing like a vagina. I'll be back in a female eunuch. No likey, no lighty. It all sounds like a bit of harmless fun, like the broken English of a Thai prostitute. Bring on the girls. There's 30 of them, but don't worry, they're pretty much interchangeable. It's the fella we need to get to know, because he's fascinating. Let the Emmeline Panker see the underside of the grave.
I don't want to watch this.
Aggressively at the camera like I've got a point to make and say, single man, reveal yourself. What do you do for a living, fella? I'm a policeman, Paddy. What hey, truncheon? What about you? I'm a mechanic, Paddy. What hey, spanner? What about you? I'm a specialist renal pharmacist. Oh, by myself. Roniella, you've left your light on. Do you fancy him, or are you so conditioned into desperation that you'll pair off with any man, whatever the cost to your dignity? Yeah. What? And do you agree that this show sends out the message that both genders should conform to a type and that anyone outside those parameters is a deserving outcast? Yeah, brilliant. Now, girls, as a sop to equality, you can turn your light on and off, but fair dues will give the final choice to the man. And if you get picked, you'll be off to the Isle of Fernando's to eat Nando's. And if you're lucky, spend the night with some aftershave drenched sweating warthog pouring at your buttocks. See you next time for more chauvinist showbiz, flogging culturally toxic, condescending junk food TV in a cynical that's good enough for them way. Oh, look, they're shagging on the bar.
I don't want to watch that.
Booze! And as pungent news reports reveal, Britain's first motorway-based pub opens, proving once and for all we don't live in a nanny state, or indeed a state that wants to protect us at all.
Yeah.
It's the only pub in Britain where every pint comes with a police car chaser. From 9 a.m. till 1 in the morning, it will provide relaxation, pleasure,
Bro,
and a
this
bit
is
of
a
welcome
trap.
lubrication for a constant stream of drivers and long-distance truckers at the Beaconsfield
This is a
service
fucking
station,
cop
just
trap,
like
brother.
Your mum does.
Oh,
Putting a
got
pub
him.
on a motorway might sound irresponsible, but as the news helpfully pointed out, they've taken precautions.
Unlike other pubs, it won't offer any promotional deals on alcoholic drinks. There are also a number of signs warning about the dangers of drink driving.
Oh, it's got signs. Well, signs are effective. No driver's ever ignored a sign, which is why there's been no speeding convictions since signs were invented. The move sparked outrage because no one's ever seen a pub on a road before. Think about it, you never have. Most pubs are in the middle of a field, or at the bottom of the sea, or up a stick. As the news skillfully demonstrated, many of the customers seemed pretty relaxed about it, like you do in a pub.
You don't mind having a pint and driving on the motorway?
No, a pint is
I bet you don't.
as far as I'm concerned. I think it's well documented that you can certainly have a pint without any trouble at all.
Oh, really? Oh, well, in that case, pint of scotch, please. But other customers sounded less than delighted.
The pub on one of the main veins of the motorway systems in Great Britain is just wrong, I'm afraid.
Oh, he's going to be furious when he turns round and finds out he's in it.
Yeah.
The pub's been opened by Wetherspoons, and inquisitive reporters grilled one of their spokesmen.
Surely that is going to increase the risk of people drinking and driving.
Well, we don't believe that's the case.
Of course, not everyone who goes
course
there will
not.
be drinking and driving. Some will be drinking and crashing.
If they have a pint, that's no different to them having a pint and going to a local pub and then driving home elsewhere.
Yeah, at 70 miles an hour.
He also got a biblical bollocking from Eamon Holmes.
You, in fact, are the devil in
Well,
disguise.
you are.
You are offering
Well,
temptation to everybody. You're offering a scenario of hell, basically,
Yeah.
are you not?
To be fair, that does describe all branches of Wetherspoons.
We don't believe in any way we are encouraging people to drink. Far from it.
Far from it? You've opened a pub for
f***'s
sake. You couldn't get further from far from it if you drove the length of that motorway. Drunk. There are some obvious pluses and minuses to a pub on the motorway. On the downside, a driver might go in there, drink too much, then cross the central reservation and collide head-on with a coachload of children and old folk. But on the upside, it's got a jukebox. So, you know.
How long did this last? Is that thing still? Is it still there? Surely not. Who knows, though?
Abuse! And as informative news reports reveal, 2 Twitter trolls who sort of don't look real are jailed for sending abusive and threatening tweets, raising concerns as to whether this is really fair.
After all, you're talking about people trapped in the fantasy world of the internet. They can't deal with the outside world. Look, one of them isn't even sure how doors work. In the end, they received short sentences, as does everyone on Twitter. The debate intensified as football star turned pundit Stan Collymore accused Twitter of doing nothing to halt the foul abuse he'd suffered after accusing a Liverpool player of diving. He was especially shocked because, having spent much of his life in football stadiums, he's never heard language like that before. But soon he walked headlong into an abuse row of his own as his ex, Ulrika Johnson, said his protestations were undeserved and accused him of beating her up in a bar several years ago. Collymore responded by saying he'd only hit her with an open hand, as though that's the gentleman's method of woman beating. Still, at least he didn't blame her for not implementing a more efficient blocking policy.
Oh, well, that makes it okay then. Yeah, he just open-handed her. Yeah, good job, Sean Connery.
And with the Winter Olympics just around the corner, Channel 4 unleashed the most thrilling support act imaginable, The Jump.
It's gripping proof that after Splash, the relationship between celebrities and gravity has turned cold. It's a bit like watching someone's skiing holiday slideshow, but without the bonus of being able to politely ask them to stop.
The show features a phalanx of frigid celebrities, namely Lion-O, Paul McKenna, girl band unit 68G, Canoe Man, 80s hitmaker Sunita Sikaram, Fred off Scooby-Doo, George from Moonraker, Pete Burns, the woman who's usually on Don't Tell the Bride when I flick past it, and her.
Most of the time they're not jumping, but doing other winter sports like sliding on sticks, sliding side to side on sticks, and sliding on tummies. Basically, it's all on the slide. It's pretty much a poor man's Splash, a statement that shouldn't even be possible. It's like discovering you can divide by 0. Most shows like this have a panel of judges to keep things interesting with some bitchy feedback, but The Jump just has them doing things against the clock, making time the only judge. And time doesn't do sassy put-downs, apart from every day when you look in the mirror and it spits in your face. The jump of the title is a ski jump, tantalisingly imposed on whoever performs worst in each daily category, thereby guaranteeing danger. But to helpfully counteract potential excitement and
Who you gonna
entertainment,
call?
the jumps aren't quite as big as
Ghostbusters.
they look.
9.5 meters!
But even this small jump was too much for Amy Childs, who merely squatted inertly at the top of the slope, looking like someone suffering a bout of constipation in a reality show where stars have to sit up a hill and shit in a bucket.
She said she couldn't do it, and I have a nasty feeling she's saying again, oh no, I can't go.
Amy's refusal meant that if Sunita was prepared to go down, she'd be on national TV the following night, a proposal that's never been put to her before. Channel 4 has broadcast more death-defying spectacle than The Jump, such as the frankly terrifying Don't Look Down, which detailed the exploits of unhinged free urban climbers.
Fuck
The prize
that.
for truly nail-biting televised risk has to go to America's Discovery Channel in its edge-of-the-seat live broadcast of Nick Wallenda crossing the Grand Canyon on a tightrope. But is it fair that such physical daredevilry is celebrated? Well, no, in the personal view of US comedian and shambles Doug Stanhope.
who'll explain why now.
I'm Doug Stanhope, and that's why I drink.
Me too.
It seems like the old-timey stunt shows of years gone by have been reinvigorated and are making a comeback, where you got Nick Wallenda tiptoeing across the Grand Canyon on a tightrope. And he did it well, almost too well, to the point where it didn't even seem dangerous at all, which kind of sucked all the gas out of it. If there's little or no entertainment value other than just hoping that you die, I might as well watch you walk down the highway and pray you get hit by a car.
Yeah.
Speaking of praying, oh my God, did you do a lot of praying out there? Which the cameras caught. Every 10 feet you stop and pray to Jesus. Thank God you were mic'd up.
Oh, I praise you, Jesus. Calm those winds in the name of Jesus. Praise you, Jesus. Yes, Jesus. Yes, Jesus.
While you were doing all that praying, remember, there were a million of us praying that you would fall spread eagle on your balls on the wire, spin upside down, and cascade into the Colorado River where you would be nothing but catfish food. But why is it your daredevil stunts get you all sorts of applause and accolades? Why do the same rules not apply to me? I take unnecessary risks with my own life all the time, usually with my brain and chemicals.
Yep.
I'm out doing mocaine in the desert.
Mocaine is when you grind up your mushrooms in a coffee grinder and then chop them up with your cocaine. And I wouldn't suggest that kids try that at home either. It's the worst mistake you'll ever make. How is that any different than some asshole extreme sports douchebag that's, oh, hey, Mount Hood has got a big dangerous snowstorm
Mount Hood.
coming in, so please don't go up there, and you race up there on purpose and you get buried in an avalanche, and oh God, the National Guard's out looking for you, and then everyone clears out of the bar and they're sticking pool cues in the snowbanks hoping to hit hot meat to save you. I spin out in the middle of Death Valley on mocaine. No one's coming to rescue me.
Am I heralded? No. I'm looked at as a bad example for other people to learn from. Don't do that, because you're an extreme guy, and your adventure and daredevil antics, they give you rock hard abs. And what do I get on my adventure out on hallucinogens in the desert? Nothing but maybe some deeper insight and some empathy for the human condition. And what's that worth, really? Not shit.
Yeah, no.
Trouble now, and I don't know if you've noticed, but Ukraine has descended into lo-fi violence, currently resembling an apocalyptic sci-fi thriller made for a budget TV station.
Given the protesters'
I think
tactic
Godzilla
of
music.
repeatedly banging more or less anything even vaguely bangable, sometimes the footage looked like a performance of Stomp that had spiralled hopelessly out of control.
Overnight, they've burnt a dozen or so police buses and trucks, and through the morning,
Wait, they're making a
the
sick beat.
violence has continued.
Never mind Ukraine, it looks like migraine over there.
Got
Every
him.
piece to camera had percussion in the background.
There's bits of petrol bombs strewn all over the place. It is quite quiet here at the moment.
Sorry, what? While the Ukrainian president, played by William Shatner, went on TV to appeal for calm and some quiet, protesters stopped banging stuff long enough to plunder history for combat tips, constructing medieval shields, building a wooden catapult, and inviting priests in to stroll around the battlefield. They're protesting because they want to be part of Europe, by the looks of it, Europe during the 14th century. Riot cops counteracted by reenacting the ancient Roman centurion method of self-preservation. Basically, the whole thing's like an extreme episode of Time Team.
The relentless banging is already getting results as the PM and government have resigned.
But amidst the violence, a moment of joy as a couple got married on the barricades. The proud groom explained they tied the knot against this apocalyptic tableau to show support out of patriotism.
We love our country and we love each other.
Oh.
And with that, the happy couple wandered off to do the same thing as everyone else in Kiev, i.e. more banging. Did you know it's 30 years since Apple unveiled the Macintosh computer with a famous cinematic commercial depicting a nightmare future in which a mute population gawps hypnotised at giant screens? Well, thanks in part to Apple, that chilling vision of the future never arrived, and now their adverts depict a nightmare present in which a mute population gawps hypnotised at little screens. That's progress. Computers have altered everything, but how? And why? And how again? Well, don't try answering those questions yourself, no, because Philomena Kunk is here to do that
Oh, God.
for you in this week's Moments of Wonder.
Damn, no, let me this time.
Computers are all around us, in offices, computer shops, and computer repair shops. It's hard to think of anything that doesn't have a computer in it, except cows. And they've probably got computers in them now.
They definitely do.
Computers have become part of our culture. Scenes like this are commonplace. You have to ask the question, are we looking at the computers or are the computers looking at us? Even though the answer to that question is obvious, it sounds spooky. The computer was invented by Charles Babbage in 1822.
What the fuck, Babbage?
But it didn't have a screen, so no one knew what it was doing. Konrad Zuse managed to invent a proper one in Germany in 1936, but that one got bombed up by the British.
Damn.
And that meant we could invent it first again, thanks to a man called Alan Turing here at Bletchley Parks in War II. Unlike today's computers, this early computer is made of transistors and pipes. And as you can see, it's absolutely huge. And the mouse has gone missing, but it must have been the size of a car. The invention of the computer was of primary benefit to one particular group of people, video game players.
Let's go.
Until computers, they'd had to play the games using a pen and paper or coloured bits of dough. A game of Pac-Man could take 3 days just to set up if the peas kept rolling off the table. The computer changed all that. There's almost nothing a person can do that a computer can't, except ride a horse. So lots of jobs have been replaced by computers. Perhaps one day we'll have a computer queen, with the real queen just used for the bits that are on a horse. In the future, I'd be able to ask a computer about computers, but for now, I'll have to speak to a human who is an expert in computers. So, are you a computer expert?
I'm Dr. Sean Holden, and I'm a senior lecturer in computer science at Cambridge University.
I think he's a
Will there
vampire.
ever come a time where we need 2 mouses to work a computer?
I don't think so. I think it's more likely that there'll be a time when you don't need any mices. Things are moving towards touchscreens, gesture recognition, brain-computer interfaces.
So what's that?
It's where you can sense, to an extent, what someone is thinking.
Like Darren Brown?
Not as well as that.
Right.
Well, not yet, anyway.
Paul McKenna?
You might be able to make the cursor, say, the mouse pointer go left or right.
Just by thinking, go right.
Yeah, that's about where the technology is.
But how can it do that? How will it know? I don't understand.
It's possible to get some information about what your brain is doing by things like encephalograms done in a hospital.
What?
Encephalograms.
Say it again.
Encephalograms.
Say it again.
Encephalograms.
Right.
So you can get some information about what your thoughts are doing through that kind of interface, which maybe means you're sticking electrodes on your head at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's early days.
That's amazing, isn't it? Would you get one of those?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Alan Turing, the weird man who discovered computers, is now a national hero, and people queue for ages to touch the Turing shroud. There are even computers made of cloud now. What next? A computer you can eat or fight? Computer music? Who knows? It's enough to make you wonder. Next time on Moments of Wonder, I'll be asking where your lap goes when you stand up.
Tag nuts! And in a series
What?
of patronising ads, a bog roll maker revamps its doomed bid to convince Brits to buff their balloon knots clean with fancy damp paper.
It's a moist toilet tissue, FYI.
It's not FYI, it's FYA. To spread the word about the soggy bum rag, Ginger Spice drops in on lunching folk and tries to put them off their food by talking skid marks.
I want you to go away and try all these.
Yeah, what
You
the
know how you
fuck?
get on.
Then 1 week later, she's back to see how they got on. 1 week? That was a big shit.
Tell me all about it. I was really surprised.
Yeah, where's his friends? Look at his setup.
Actually, it felt a lot cleaner. Sorry, I don't believe you actually used them. Come on, pop your rings out, inspection time.
Yeah.
They're flushable.
For me, it's a game changer. A game changer? What sort of sick game involves wiping your ass?
Yeah.
Cleaning the nation from the bottom up.
Well, that'll be unhygienic by the time she gets to the mouth.
Compensation! And a range of personal injury lawyers shill their wares with happy scenes in which an innocent victim wins the justice lottery and can't help busting some moves.
Oh, isn't it great to see him so happy after that debilitating back injury?
Oh,
it's
shit.
almost like it never happened. Weirdly,
Yeah, that's weird.
tennis whiz Andrew Castle pops up at the end to congratulate the man in person.
That's what justice feels like.
Don't know what Andrew Castle's got to do with completely above-board legal practices. I mean, all he really knows about is rackets. But they're not the only ones making a song and dance about cash for crutches. There's another gleeful ad with a similarly gleeful tone.
Well, let me tell you about an accident I had. It wasn't nice. It was quite bad. It made me feel. It made him sad.
Well, at least it hasn't affected your ability to irritate. Incredibly, it seems every other prick in his hometown suffered some kind of personal injury, but they seem weirdly happy about it. I can't imagine why.
£2,000?
Yeah, was Coronation Street?
Cool.
That's nothing. I've just won £4 for the emotional distress caused by this bum watch. You know, looking at the elaborate musical numbers in these adverts, I can't help wondering if one of the dancers has ever sprained an ankle on a curbstone or something and
What
logged in a
else?
compo claim, because that'd be a real tragedy. Well, that's about all we've got time for this week. Until next time, go away.
You know what, man? How about I do what I want, and you... Oh, he's leaving. Well, joke's on you, I'm still here. You can leave if you want. Oh no, he's gonna piss in the bucket! No, Charlie, don't do it. They're gonna put you on TMZ. Oh, it's too late. I don't want to watch Take Me Out. I don't want to. Don't make me watch Take Me Out. Come on. I know you're typing a comment. Hey, no, you should watch Take Me. No. No. Don't make me watch Take Me Out. Come on, man. Why, how about we don't say we did? Come on. I know I've probably watched worse, but come on. Can't we just not and say we did? Man. Oh. I'm gonna have to watch Take Me Out, aren't I? Because I'm fucked either way. Either I just do it on my own free will and get it over with, or I don't do it, and then someone on Twitch is gonna request it, and then I'll have to do it anyway. Fucking Quaid's probably got it lined up as I speak right now. Damn it, I'm gonna have to watch Take Me Out. Don't want to. Well, fuck. I guess we'll come back to that. Well, that is it for another episode of Charlie Brooker's Weekly Wipe. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tomorrow, Gladiators. Huzzah! But that is it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave it a like. If you didn't like it, don't. If you want to follow any of my social media links, they're all in the video description down below, as well as the names of all my Patrons. If you didn't know, you can be a patron of me for the lowest $1 or £1, and you get extra direction videos. We'll read comments up to day early, sometimes more. For all that being said, though, my name is Taffy. This has been Never Action, Charlie Brooker's Weekly Wipe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.